The Ubiquiti EdgeRouter Lite. A small hardwired router that sits on the edge of your network, but acts as a Swiss Army knife of tools. I picked this one up for just $20 on my local Facebook marketplace, and honestly, it's been one of the best additions to my Homelab so far. It gives me full VLAN segmentation across my network, acts as a dedicated VPN host which takes the load off my Proxmox server, and gives me kind of a granular control I never had with consumer grade gear. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I got mine set up step by step, and hopefully get yours up and running too. I'll first take you through my current setup and all of my IP addressing, and then once we have that done, I'll show you how I migrated everything over from my current setup to the new one on the two different VLANs. Also, we're going to go ahead and set up the VPN system so that we can take that off of our Proxmox host and give a little bit more free space to other systems that we want to run. Let's jump on in. So first things first, before I start plugging in cables or creating VLANs, I need to account for everything running in my Homelab and figure out how I want to organize it with this new setup. I have my Proxmox host, which runs my virtual machines and also hosts my web server, my Raspberry Pi that's currently acting as my mail server, my Asus router, which I'll be keeping around for Wi-Fi access and light DHCP duties, the EdgeRouter Lite, which will be taking over as the main router and handle all segmentation, and finally my daily use desktop for editing, coding, and the occasional gaming session. Now that I've got a clear picture of my environment, I want to build out a proper IP addressing scheme that fits how I'm segmenting the network. Right now, everything's pretty much in one flat range, and that's not ideal. So this is my network plan on how I'm going to configure my edge router. On ETH0, we're going to have my WAN port so that we can connect my ISP internet. And then through ETH1, we're going to be connecting my trusted devices, so things like my home computer and my wireless access point for my Wi-Fi devices. And then lastly, we have ETH2, which is going to have our Proxmox server connected to it, and attached is going to be our email server on our Raspberry Pi as well. This setup will give me full control over which devices can talk to each other. For example, I can block IoT devices from even seeing my Proxmox dashboard while still letting my workstation access everything. Taking the time to map this out ahead of time is super important. It keeps things clean, reduces troubleshooting later, and helps avoid surprise network breakages. With that plan laid out, it's time to fire up the EdgeRouter Lite and start building this network for real. I'm going to start with a clean install. So first I'm going to plug into ETH0 and connect to it using the IP address 192.168.1.1. From here, I'll log into the web interface with the default username and password, UBNT, and immediately change it to something a little bit more secure. Next, I'm setting up the core interfaces. ETH0 will be my WAN interface, which connects to my modem. I'm assigning it a static IP, in my case 100.64.0.10, but yours might come from DHCP, depending on your ISP. Then I set up ETH1 with a static IP of 10.10.30.1. This is my trusted LAN. And then I set ETH2 with 10.10.10.1, and this is for my infrastructure. At this point, I have physical segmentation. Devices plugged into each port will only see what's on their respective subnet, unless I explicitly bridge them with firewall rules or routing policies. I enabled DHCP on ETH1 so my workstation and Wi-Fi devices can get automatic IPs. I left ETH2 static only since I want full control over my Proxmox and Pi IPs. At this point, my EdgeRouter Lite is configured with a static WAN IP, 2 physical LAN segments, ETH1 for trusted clients and ETH2 for infrastructure, and DHCP running only on ETH1. In the next part of the video, we will configure the firewall rules to isolate traffic and set up a VPN so that I can securely connect to my network from anywhere. Now that the EdgeRouter Lite is routing traffic, it's time to lock things down. I'm creating firewall rules to make sure infrastructure devices can't talk to trusted devices unless explicitly allowed. For example, my Proxmox server doesn't need access to my desktop, but my desktop does need access to Proxmox. I created zone-based rules to keep that control clean and scalable. After that, I set up an OpenVPN server directly on the EdgeRouter Lite. It lets me securely tunnel into my home network from anywhere. Whether I'm on my laptop or my phone, OpenVPN is lightweight, secure, and gives me full access to my lab without exposing anything to the public internet. To get started, I installed the OpenVPN package through the CLI and generated the server keys directly on the router. Then I created a .ovpn profile with my WAN IP and imported it into the OpenVPN app on both my laptop and my phone. Once connected, I could ping my internal services, reach my Proxmox dashboard, and even SSH into my Pi, just like I was on my local network. So that's a wrap on my EdgeRouter Lite setup, and honestly, I'm really happy on how it's holding everything together. And before I go, I just want to shout out a few awesome folks in the community who shared their Homelab setups with me. At WeHomes, those Dell XC2s can really pack a punch, especially if you're adding in those extra components like you mentioned. At Gearly Glucluse, never a bad idea to go new on storage, especially when you're running SSDs. And at Minecraft Addict XD, I love the ideas that you have for expanding, and I can't wait to hear how it goes down the line. I've been getting so many cool build ideas from you guys. So if you're working on a home lab, planning one, or you're just nerding out, drop it in the comments or tag me. I'd love to feature more of you in the next videos to come. If this video helped you out at all, even if you're using completely different gear, give it a like, and hit the subscribe button to follow along for future updates. I'll see you in the next one.